So relatively flat weekend so far for BTC, just floating around, playing a few games with us. But we've got a very volatile week coming up. We've got lots of data coming out from the States. So we're going to cover a lot of these things and some key Bitcoin levels. I've also got some signs that are potentially showing that a bottom could be in. I've got a couple of indicators for you that you're going to find pretty interesting. Then I've got a watch list of altcoins that could be of interest for you guys this week. And I've got a couple of alts that I'm currently trading at the moment. I'm going to show you which ones I'm in. I'm going to give you some great levels. I'm going to tee you guys up for this week. We got a big one coming ahead. Let's get right into this. So apologies for the slight delay. Uncle Run was throwing out some memes there on Banter Plus. So that's why you're seeing me now on the Banter main channel today, in case you guys are confused. So there is Banter Plus and there is the main channel. If you like the type of content you're seeing, obviously hit the like button here, hit the subscribe button. But if you want to see more of me, I'm on Banter Plus weekly, Monday to Friday. And I've got this legend in the back with me as well, Monday to Friday, they're on Banter Plus. So hit the like and subscribe there, and we'll see you guys there. Okay, Banter Bubbles, there's a lot going on here, and you know, a little bit more to Banter Bubbles than some of you might expect. So other than the tokens that you can see which are up and which are down, I mean, 𝗕𝗘𝗙 at 4% up. Can somebody tell me what the hell 𝗕𝗘𝗙 actually is? IMX, that makes sense to me. I'm in an IMX trade I can tell you guys about. TON is also looking good, but then you know, relatively red and flat all over the other place. Now on the right hand side of Banter Bubbles, don't forget, there's a lot more to Banter Bubbles than what meets the eye. Like initially, look at this. We've got the entire research group from our newsroom dropping alpha in the Banter Bubbles section there. So get onto Banter Bubbles. If you don't have an account, you can tie it in with your Twitter account, and you can follow the latest research from a lot of the Banter researchers there. And you can also farm your gummy airdrop. If you see at the top here, I've got a little ticker, and you can see I'm busy farming some gummy points there. So a lot of utility here for Banter Bubbles, other than just looking at what these tokens are doing. Okay, let's just look at BTC. What am I playing for the week? What is my current plan for the next 24 hours? What am I looking for? Well, it's been pretty interesting. Last Friday, we had quite a sell-off after a nice bullish move, and we were getting quite excited. We had a nice little pump there, and then a big rejection on Friday. And one of my concerns that I was telling the Sniper Club members on Friday was that we hadn't visited this big 618 for me. And we know that Bitcoin loves to come back to a 618. And it was a little bit of a concern that they hadn't come down there. And lo and behold, they came and they surprised us on that US Open. They came and they rinsed the guys out there and pushed us down, and they've pinged the 618. So they've now put a stake in the ground for us for the next while. And this is now a massive area that we need to be watching. 60K is my level now. This is what I got my eyes on. This is our bullish level right now that we want to see holding. So if we do get some kind of push lower, we don't really want to wick much lower than this little trend, maybe push the 59K level. And then we want to see a nice little strong bounce from there. So that is my downside that I'm currently watching now for the next, say, for the next 12 to 24 hours. I don't want to see the 60K lost. If it gets lost, then things are definitely going to get a little bit spicy, and these altcoin boys are going to be feeling some of the heat. So look out if we lose that 60K level. And then upside, you can see what's going on. We are now in a clear downtrend as well. And you can see there's great resistance here to play around with. So your big number here, 62K. Now that's going to be a big one. That's going to be the bull line that we want to blow up. That's going to be the bull line that we want to see pop and then hold. So ideally, if these Asians come later now tonight and they open up these markets and they start pumping things, what do we want to see? We want to see this pop here, and then we want to see the 62K hold, and then we can start getting super excited. We can start getting a little bit more bullish and all those types of things. But until we start breaking that level, we are at resistance on Bitcoin, which could mean we could get a little rejection here and expect perhaps a little bit of downside. So that is my current play. You can see a nice little wedge here that is going on, and nice and clean. You know, the levels and the areas are very clean now, and we know exactly what to do. Okay, let's see what is actually happening this week. Why was I saying it's a big week? Well, look at this. We got US economic data this week. PPI inflation, we know that's a market mover. That's a big one. CPI inflation, that's a massive one as well. Retail sales, jobless claims, that also tends to put some pressure on the market. And I'm loving what they're doing here with Joe Powell. He says, no time for puts. Inflation is transitory. And they've dressed him up kind of sexy like James Bond. But a big week... but about a big week ahead. He's sexy, bro. What can I say? What can I say? And bro, wait till you see this tweet. I'm going to show you something interesting, right? Here's Seth. And now Seth has used this information. And he says the daily RSI broke the downtrend. Okay, so that's pretty bullish. And he's saying next week we have CPI core, CPI, PPI, Fed chair speech. And he's saying his theory here is that Jerome Powell is likely to pump our bags. Now, the US economy isn't as strong as the data suggests. He says true unemployment rate published by the Ludwig Institute reports 24% compared to 3.8. Okay, so he's predicting a bullish outcome here from the Fed and maybe a little bit more pumpage. Now, there's a lot of signs out there, and I'm going to show you two more charts that I've got teed up for you guys that I'm going to bring to you just now. Also telling us that we could be close to, or very close to a potential bottom. But before we get there, I want to show you guys something hilarious. I actually couldn't stop laughing. Early last week, me and Ray were actually ripping off ADA, Cardano. And I mean, we were having a big laugh about it on my show. And I'm not going to get too deep into that right now, but there's the original clip. You can follow it on Crypto Banter. But as it turns out, the Cardano girls weren't very impressed with my ADA comments, because I obviously don't know how to pronounce ADA correctly. So I just want to show you what these girls, they did me so bad on X, on Twitter, that I've actually invited them onto my show for tomorrow. So I just want to show you. I'm going to show you what these ladies have done to me. Let me just pull this thing up here. Ray, let me know if you hear the sound.
Do we have lady guests tomorrow?
We've got, well, look, what I need you guys to do, they've agreed to come onto the show tomorrow, and we're going to talk about this thing. But what I suggest you do is you tag these guys and you make sure that they come onto my show tomorrow, because we need to deal with them decisively. And maybe we're going to get some ADA entries. Maybe they're going to change my mind about ADA. But look what they did to me. I'm going to play just a half of this video.
Oh, lovely. My good friend, Ada Whale, just commented on the post. Let's see what it is.
Let's chart ADA. Let's actually look at it. If you're holding a bag of ADA, okay, I am a Cardano holder and holding some of these tokens, XRP, ADA. Let's chart ADA. Let's actually look at it. Let's look at it, and maybe it can unshitcoin itself or something. The reason I did it was because Alex Becker posted this tweet, and he said he's learning Italian. He says, I started learning Italian. This language is wild. So he typed in English, I am a Cardano holder. And then the Italian says, Ray, I'm not reading this, bro.
So what do you want to do tonight?
Let's chart ADA. Let's actually look
No,
at
bro.
it.
Bro, they've done me so bad. So guys, we're gonna deal with this tomorrow. We're gonna deal with them tomorrow. Okay, tag them on Twitter. Make sure they get onto the show. I'm gonna chart ADA for them, which I think is obviously a massive shitcoin, but maybe they can correct me. They weren't happy with my video, but they said they've tentatively agreed to come on the show. So let's make sure they get on the show with us tomorrow. We're gonna deal with this video, and then we're gonna deal with ADA, and maybe they can convince us that ADA isn't a shitcoin. I'm looking forward to it, I must tell you. They did tease me a lot there, but you know, we'll wear it. We'll wear it. I'll own it. Okay. The next one I've got for you guys. Now, this is interesting. I mean, there's actually so many reasons and so many things here pointing to a potential move here on a lot of these altcoins as well, and just crypto in general. But Garcia, he's basically showing a USDT dominance chart, and he's telling us the last time he saw this loss of trend on USD dominance, we had a nice bullish move in the markets, and now he's saying, is this time different? I mean, he's giving you the arrow. He's telling you exactly what's happening here, and he's expecting some downside here on this USDT dominance. So that is another interesting thing for us. Then I've also got the S&P, which is absolutely ripping. Okay, this thing has blown the 50-day MA. We've been talking about this thing a lot over the last couple of weeks, and this thing is now looking good. We're nearly back at all-time highs. Are we going to start flying this week with this data that's coming out? Is Jerome Powell going to talk nicely as well this week? And are we going to get a bigger move on the S&P? So take a look at this. And for those of you that don't know, on Prime XBT, you can trade. And there's my bull. On Prime XBT, you can trade the S&P. So you can send crypto to Prime XBT. You can obviously trade futures and all those things that you've seen me trading on Prime XBT with Bitcoin and the other altcoins, but they've got a separate platform within Prime XBT, and you can trade the S&P. And you can see I'm in a small little S&P long here at the moment, so no reason to close this thing. Maybe if we lose the 50-day MA, I'll look at closing that thing, but there's a little long cooking here on the S&P, and if this thing just keeps running, well, we're going to leave this one open until we start losing that 50-day MA. So a nice little global markets platform they have there. You can see what their offering is on the right. You can see aluminium, Brent, copper, crude. They've got you all covered there as well. They've also got Forex and those type of things. So lots going on there. And then their regular crypto futures platform that they have going on. You can see I'm currently in a 1.25 Bitcoin long here on Prime XBT, obviously hoping for that nice little trend break, hoping for something bigger here on Prime XBT. So we'll see how that's going to play out. There is a limited offer in the description, 7% sign up bonus for you. Click the link in the description of the show and you can see what's going on there. And while we're talking about clicking links in the description and things like that, don't forget about Gummy. There's an exclusive 15 million Gummy airdrop happening in 18 days. Okay, what you need to do is go to Bybit in the link in the description. So take a look here. We say, deposit 100, trade $500, okay, and get $100 on top of that, and then also participate in the Gummy airdrop. So the clock is ticking. It's never going to happen again. Okay, so you've got 18 days. So, you know, work it out accordingly, but you're not going to just get a 15 million Gummy airdrop thrown at you probably ever again. So take advantage of this. You're going to get your $100 as well if you trade $500, and you're going to participate in that Gummy airdrop. Okay, and you can see I'm quite active now on Bybit as well. And here's my current situation with Bybit. So I've got a render long that's still in play from last week. I've got Ondo that's still running. I've got MYRO that actually it's been playing games with me. I had quite a big MYRO position versus what it is now. And now it's you know, a little bit of up, down, things like that happening. IMX is also looking good. So I've got these charts for you. I'm going to show you these charts as well. And I'm going to show you my strategy on them as soon as we get through some of these other things that we're watching. Now, number one is dominance. Got my eyes on dominance now. And this is the dominance on the 4 hour. It's been playing out so nicely for us over the last while. And you can see how beautifully dominance is respecting levels. And why is dominance important to me? Well, number one, dominance tells me when we are getting the alts favored or when we are getting Bitcoin favored. And a pumping dominance obviously means that Bitcoin is favored and the alts are lagging a bit or feeling a little bit of pressure. Now, the secret comes in. When dominance is pumping and Bitcoin is pumping, then it's not so bad for the altcoins. But when you see dominance shooting up, when Bitcoin is actually falling over or running sideways, that is when we feel a lot of the pain in the altcoins. And that is when this chart comes in really handy in times like these for the pumps and the dumps. So what I do, or what I tend to do, is when dominance is pumping, I start looking for rejection zones. I start looking for areas where the altcoins could get a little bit more relief. And things like this. And you can see why dominance has been respecting these areas so nicely, and it's really played the game well. So right now I'm watching dominance here on the support level. You can see why it's bouncing this 54.6%. You can see it's a strong, solid zone here. It's going to hold dominance up. What does that tell us? Potential dominance bounce, obviously. Now, when Bitcoin's moving up, then we are chilled. Okay, so look out for those type of things. And the real fun for the altcoins tends to start when we get these dominance rejections. Here was one a couple of days ago. There was another a couple of days ago. And look at this beautiful one that they gave us the other day. So any big moves down in dominance, that gets the altcoin guys pumped and excited. And that is ultimately what we're looking for. So dominance, watch 55%, watch 55.2%, and watch 55.4%. These are all reaction zones here where they give some of these altcoins some relief in the current situation. Okay, and now I've got two indicators for you, or two very interesting tweets here of you know, with different views telling us why we could be potentially moving higher. This is 𝗕𝗙𝗢𝗢, and he came up with an interesting chart. He says, introducing the tether ratio channel. He says a great buy signal, and it's signaling now. So if you go and read his thread, okay, it's called 𝗕𝗙𝗢𝗢𝗔's take.
Go read his thread. But there's an interesting chart here, number 3. He's saying it's crushing in this particular bull run. And the USDT signal has now moved into his hot zone. And the last time we got this bounce, if you can see my mouse there on the screen, the last time we got this bounce, we had a serious pump on Bitcoin. And now we are busy moving into this hot territory here. Is this the time? Is this the moment now where things are going to reverse imminently and start pushing higher? So keep your eyes on that. Interesting take on things. It's my first look at that one. And then Stock Money Lizards really enjoying this as well. They've given you a nice long sort of explanation as to what's going on, but great account to follow as well. And they're talking about the Wyckoff distribution. And this really ties in very well. If you look at this bottom chart, this is going to tie in very well to this 2-day chart that I'm about to show you and why I think there's a potential bottom here where we are right now. And then they've obviously painted the worst case scenario at 52K, which we don't want to dive into just yet. But, you know, right now, this is what I'm watching. And this is what I told the Sniper Club guys on Friday. I was looking for something along these lines, an inverse head and shoulders. And it was surprising to me that we hadn't hit that 618, which coincides with this exact 382 on this bigger pool as well. So now we finally have this right shoulder in play. Is this telling us now that this is the final move now into the zone before we get a nice healthy push up to the 72K region? So that is what I'm planning, and that is how I'm busy positioning myself. And I mean, Ray's put on his goggles exactly for that reason. So, you know, are we ready for that, Ray? I mean, the AI goggles are still
Give me
on.
the ball, man. Give me the ball.
So why is this a big week? And you know, number one, I'm going to show you an interesting tweet telling us why it's an interesting week. But we've got NVIDIA earnings coming up in 9 or 10 days. So if Bitcoin starts holding these levels and starts looking slightly bullish, I would expect with these NVIDIA earnings coming that we are really going to get a nice little push, another push in some of these AI tokens, and that's going to be spread into the rest of the market as well. I think the rest of the market is also going to feel that. So if we get this little bounce here, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen leading into these NVIDIA earnings. And now 𝗕𝗘𝗙 gave us an interesting tweet as well, and I've actually copied his chart for you so we can just look at a couple of things here. But he's basically saying the bi-monthly MACD cross, okay, with stock RSI breaking 70 after max compression. He's saying, I wonder what comes next. Okay, now let me pull up this chart. Let me show you what he's actually talking about. So this is the MACD. It's an indicator. Well, there's multiple indicators. You can see I don't really use the MACD that often, but in times like these, it's a great example that you can see what's going on. And the last time the MACD popped out 2 little green candles, as you can see in the bottom here, we had a massive move on BTC, and this is on the 2-month chart. Okay, so this is crypto total market cap excluding top 10. Okay, so the last time it popped out these 2 candles, we had a massive move in the market, and you can see what's going on now. This MACD has finally turned green on the 2-month chart. And if history is to be repeated, or if history is to rhyme, we could potentially be seeing a much bigger move here with this crypto total. Now, this is the total market cap excluding the top 10 tokens, okay? It's a beautiful representation of the altcoins out there. And if anything, or if history is to be repeated, we are expecting some kind of move here on some of these on these altcoins. So let's just look at the size of the move. The last time we printed 2 of these candles on the MACD, what did we get? We got a 980% move in the crypto market cap excluding the top 10. What do we get if we get a 980% move here this time? Well, it's pretty parabolic. Look, I don't want to get anybody too hyped here, but I'm running out of screen.
I'm too hyped.
I'm running. Right, I'm running out of a bit of screen here. But if we have to be totally reasonable about things, I'd say we're just going to look for probably a little 1.618. So what is a 1.618? Well, it's something I like to use. I like to use these fibs to give me targets and areas of interest. And what you can do when you're trying to find something that could potentially be in price discovery, you can play with the 1.618 fib. And you can see if I pull the 1.618 fib, it gives me a nice little target from here of roughly 184%. Look, not going to lie, I would take that any day. They don't need to give me 900% to excite me. 180% will do just fine, I think, for me and Ray there. And I'll probably be wearing my own set of goggles then after that. Crystal Davy
I think
says,
we'll have our own island.
𝗕𝗘𝗙𝗢𝗢 says he's being unreasonably bullish. Guys, how bullish are we? I've got a poll running here in the chat. So let's just see. Let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, very neutral. Okay, I like this. I like seeing this type of situation. We've got 57% are calling 67K next, 56K, 43%. Okay, so a nice little balanced view out there. Sometimes we see it's very skewed, and then you can often fade. You can fade the general view out there. So nice that things are looking relatively balanced. And just look, if we look at this guy's tweet and we take it for what it is, and we see this MACD. Now, this is a 2-month chart, so this doesn't mean this plays out tomorrow. There could be lots of downside before anything like that happens that you might even not notice on the bigger scheme of things on this chart. For example, we could easily get a drawdown here up to about 15%, and the MACD won't even change. So 15% on that total, the total market cap, excluding the top 10, is going to be pretty deep out there, and we won't really see the difference on this chart. So this doesn't mean that this is the exact bottom and things are going to pump now, but it's interesting perspective. And if you are holding spot bags, there's another argument here for you to not be jumping out on the next pullback until this MACD really starts turning red and really starts changing. If you're trading high leverage, obviously that's a different story. But spot bags, margin bags, those things like that, these are just signals to confirm your bias or to confirm your thesis that things are going higher. And here we are. So if you are holding spot bags, I wouldn't be too terrified of any pullbacks here in the market. And as long as this MACD is staying green, we are going to be cooking. Okay, let's look at a couple of the big dogs here. Here's Solana. And no real changes, looking pretty quiet. Quite a flat weekend actually for Sol. So we had that nice little pump into this resistance region, nice little rejection, and now we're just hovering around waiting for something to happen. Are the Asians going to wake up here, and are they going to dump us, or are they going to pump us? That is really the question we want to ask. And notable for me is that Solana is yet to visit the 618. Now, we've seen Bitcoin come and visit a 618 there, and we haven't seen Solana dip that low yet. So pretty interesting for me. So I would watch. If I was trading Sol right now, 134 is what you want to be watching. That's the support level of interest. You saw how Bitcoin reacted off that 618. Look out for 134. That's an interesting zone. And then 120 is another big one. You can see why this is a huge area for Solana. Look out here. If we do get this pullback, that's a buy zone for me. 200-day MA pushing higher as well. Big buy area down about 120 to about 118. That's your safe zone. That's a nice little bullish pullback zone where you can get stuck in there on Sol. So look out for 134. Look out for 120 to 118. And when do we turn super bullish on Solana? Very simple game plan here. We want to blow this resistance zone. Let's blow this area, get some support, and then we are on. And then we are talking 200, we are talking 250, we are talking those bigger areas. We just need to blow this horizontal. That's the 50-day moving average at 159, 160 for us. Big resistance. As you can see, we're getting rejected here every single time we push up. So what does that mean? It tells us that when we eventually break it, there's very good chance that we can start longing that retest with confidence, because that's telling us that this was major resistance. When we finally crack it, it could tell us that's going to be a nice big support basket for us. So wait, if you are unsure what to do when Sol cracks that 160 level, we're looking for support at 160, and there's going to be a potentially big long for you guys to take it higher. That could be the move that then takes us back to the all-time highs for Solana, and then back to around about 250. So look out for that. I see Chaos is telling everybody to have patience, and Campex is saying MYRO is flying. Let's emergency. Let's look at MYRO. There goes MYRO. Okay, so MYRO was one of the trades that we got from last week. I think we took that one on Thursday. And it was a nice little mover. Look at this. Dipped right into a little 618, okay? So notable that Solana hasn't hit the 618. That is why I'm saying I want to see Sol come down and hit that 618. Look at the types of reaction we are getting off these 618. So big level now for MYRO, the 618. You can see it's confirmed as a huge area of support. So MYRO traders, 0.148. And what is the plan here? What is the current game plan? So this is what I'm seeing at the moment. I'm looking for something along these lines potentially until we get that pop. So don't be surprised if we get a rejection at the 50-day MA. And you've seen it now on Solana pushing into the 50-day MA. Here's Sol, just a reminder, 50-day MA. Here's MYRO
pushing into the 50-day MA. So just look out at these areas. If you are long MYRO, for example, that would be an ideal area for you to TP. So I'm currently sitting in a MYRO position here. You can see it's absolutely ripping now. And my TP zone is going to be just under that 50-day MA, and you can see why. It's a reaction zone, it's a resistance zone, and that's the type of area you want to look to bank some profits when these things are moving. So look out for that region. And right now there's no real new entries on leverage. If you are trading MYRO, you can see why this thing's absolutely ripped now. And if you are jumping in on leverage, your risk is an entire move down of about 12% now on that candle. So if you're jumping in on leverage, remember, 12% risk to the downside times whatever your leverage is, that is where you can get a little bit hurt. So just be careful if you are trying to jump into a big green candle. I strongly advise you avoid those type of things. And remember, when you see these big candles and these big pumps, always just zoom out. Okay, bigger picture. What is this telling you? You can see there's loads of time here. There's no rush to do absolutely anything. You can always miss the first potential move. You can always catch up later. And as long as you are patient and you play your levels, you will be okay. Just don't start FOMOing in when you get massive pullback. So MYRO, look out, TP zone coming up there at the 50-day MA. If it blows that, same as Solana, then we are looking for much bigger things on MYRO. You can see we've got a nice horizontal, and this thing can climb, but there could be multiple trades here for you in MYRO. So don't feel any FOMO here. Rather find something with a better entry, for example, than FOMOing in. Okay, here's a nice little watch list for you guys. So the DeFi Investor drops a nice crypto watch list for the week ahead. And I've charted some of these for you guys, so you don't have to. Okay, so we're going to have a few interesting things here for you guys to look at. So BTC, we know CPI data coming out on the 15th of May, and we've covered that. You know the levels that I'm watching right now. We're going to pay attention to that. And then AI coins. Okay, so OpenAI will make a big announcement tomorrow with NVIDIA. Then there's a couple of other announcements that I'm going to show you about. I'm going to show you just now. Then we've got AVO, we've got the TON network, which I've charted for you. We've got SNX, and then Mode and Liquidity. I looked at some of those charts, and Mode is a relatively new project, so we're not going to touch that one just yet. But Chief Fing had a very interesting comment on a big lineup of upcoming AI-related events, and this is why we can still be bullish on AI. If Bitcoin's going to be bouncing off these current areas, these AI tokens are going to start churning, and it's just a matter of time. So big events to look out for. 13th of May, OpenAI, that's tomorrow. Google on Tuesday are doing something. Microsoft are potentially doing something. So there's a lot of narrative left in the tank for these AI tokens. And if you've missed a lot of these moves, you would have seen multiple opportunities in the last 10 days on my show that I've been giving you guys for render. Missing these opportunities, because if you get some weakness now into the market, we've got potential multiple announcements coming up for AI, and then after that we've got NVIDIA earnings in 9 or 10 days time, which could really also accelerate things. So you've got a nice little window here to try and hunt or try and find an entry for some of your AI tokens, or even perhaps build a potential entry. So if you are looking for something on Render, now we know Render's been the flavor of the month with Apple and all the news that's floating around. What you can do is start trying to build a position in key areas. Okay, what are key areas? For me, it's the 382 pullbacks, it's the horizontals that tie in with that, and it's nice moving averages like the 50-day MA and things like that, where we've seen massive reactions off these areas. If I zoom into this Render chart, I'm just going to show you we had such a nice reaction here off this 50-day MA, and at the time we had a horizontal and 382 tied in with that. So that was a big region for us for Render. So if you are interested in a position for Render, what can you do now on the 12-hour, 8-hour time frame? Well, you need to be a little bit patient here, and you need to look for either trend breaks, or you need to look for moves lower down. Now you can see there is a little trend brewing here on Render right now. So what you can do, I'll dial in for you in a second. What you can do for the downside is look for a move into this 382 fib. So if we do get some weakness later today, look for a move into this region here, 9.7. Okay, that's a big zone that I'm going to be watching now. You can see we've got big horizontal support here. This tells me that we should get a nice little reaction if we move down into that region. So look out for this 9.7. And then if we want to try and attack something, let's say if you want to try jump on some kind of bullish momentum or some kind of bullish move, you can start dialing in. But remember, your risk starts going up. The more and more you zoom in, you start increasing your risk. You start increasing, you know, your chances of multiple trades. You might have multiple stops before they start working for you. And that's why I always like to zoom out and just look at where's my big picture, where's my big areas that I really need to be watching. So one thing you can do is look for a potential trend break here on render, and maybe if you start getting a break here, you can look at jumping into a position. So you can see what's going on here. We've got a small little triangle here on the 1 hour. What does that look like? You could look for something along these lines, a little pop and go there. And once we get that move, then you're going to look for bang out stops underneath key areas. What are key areas? Key areas will be where you've seen candle bottoms and things like that. And that's just how you're going to protect yourself from a stop loss perspective, because if we start losing some of these areas here that you are looking at on the 1 hour, it could start telling us a story that it wants to track a little bit lower down. And that's when you need to zoom out and understand where is your next major zone, where's your next big area if these things start turning south. So strategy number one, you can bang out a trend line, look for that trend break, and then you bang your stops under these candle lows and these big little areas that you can play around with. And if that turns over, then you need to zoom out. You need to just dial back a little bit. If we're having some kind of market meltdown, you just zoom out and you say, okay, where did Dylan say we've got strong support zones? Zoom out, and you can see here 9.7, number one. That could be a buy zone for you. 50-day moving average 9.33, also very nice. And sell the hamster zone here, especially over the next 10 days. You sell the hamster here, 8.6. That's an area where you want to look for a bounce on render. So if we get nice little weakness Monday, Tuesday, and maybe they just send us lower, look for that move, and we could be a nice one here for us at about 8.6. Guys, who's in the chats? I haven't even spoken to anybody yet in the chats. What's happening here? RB says these AI.
There's nothing to talk about in the chats because they're not smashing the like.
Guys,
hold on.
Guys, listen to Uncle Ray. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and don't forget, if you enjoy the content, go to Banter Plus. I'm on Banter Plus, Crypto Banter Plus. Catch me there Monday to Friday. Sheldon's on there with me. He does the morning show. I do the evening shows. Catch us there. Subscribe to Banter Plus. Right, Ray, are you happy with that? Is that good? You happy? Okay, Ray's happy. How's my people in the chats here? Let's see. Are you guys having a nice weekend? I see Mark is here all the way from Australia. He's in Brisbane. And Steve says, Uncle Dill, my huge bag of Link is looking sad. Thinking to swap it into Sol. Let me tell you what happens from experience. The minute you swap something because you're tired of it, that's when it pumps. So just a pro tip. I've seen it happen so many times. So look, I'm bullish on Sol and I'm bullish on Link. Okay, over the long term. If you agree with that statement, if you bullish on both of them, I think we agree that both of these could do a couple of X's over the next few months. So I would just be patient. I would play the patience game. And we know Link likes to lead the start often of some kind of alt run. So just be a little bit patient there. I wouldn't chop and change. Link is a solid play. Solana's a solid play. I wouldn't do too much. Chaos, let us know in the chats if you agree with that. And James says, we're fucked. Sell everything. I don't know why he's panicking today. Don't know why he needs to panic. We'll give him that. Okay, let's see what else we got. Jane Hodges says happy Sunday. Jane, jump onto Sniper Club with us, guys. We got a Sniper Club live Zoom. Me and DJ and David. And I remember Jane was enjoying David's company the other day. Jane, jump onto Sniper Club Zoom. We got an exclusive Sniper Club Zoom after the session. We're doing our weekly setups and all these things for you guys. So we're going to be jumping in there in the next 35-40 minutes. We'll be there. And Lucas says he's long R-Weave. I've got an R-Weave chart for you guys. Let's see what else we got. Tony says turbo. And Kenneth is super bullish on dinner. I need that ticker. The ticker must be dinner then. Okay, here is Fetch. Okay, Fetch, an AI play. Okay, so we know Render's been outperforming the AI tokens. We agree. Some of the smaller cap AI tokens that I brought you last week, they've been going quite nicely. Let's not forget about Fetch. Let's not forget about Ocean. Let's not forget about BTC as well. These are all potential AI plays that could start running this week with all these announcements coming up. Remember, the AI news is contagious. It's going to start spreading into a lot of the tokens, and there's all the speculation is going to start coming back. So Fetch traders, here's an 8-hour chart that I've been watching very closely, and there's a couple of things going on for Fetch that we need to know. Okay, number one, we've got a potential huge range in play. Okay, so let's not be surprised if we get bled out into the range low. Okay, so we know we've got a long coming here for Fetch potentially at 1.8 to 1.9, somewhere in this region. You can see it's clear as day here. We've got a potential range in play. So let's not be so bullish that we think a range play is not out of the question. So let's look for a potential long from lower down, call it 1.86 to 1.89. So that is option number one that I would look at here for Fetch. Now remember, if we do get a bleed out, knowing that we've got all this AI news and all these AI things coming this week, this to me would be a massive opportunity to get involved in some AI tokens, especially considering the runway for the next 10 days. Okay, so Fetch, keep your eyes on this level lower down. If we do get a bleed out, that is where you're looking for a bounce. And then number two, the most obvious zone for me, a little bit more of this, and then we're looking for that bang. And we want to see a move higher here for Fetch. And why do I like that area? It's a 618. It's a rising trend. It's horizontals in play as well. And if the market is going to stay a little bit bullish here, and I'm talking Bitcoin holding these levels, some of these alts popping off, things like that, this is where it's at for Fetch, 2.11. So watch that area closely. 2.1 to 2.11, nice little area there for me for Fetch. If we lose that, let's say we get weakness for 2 days, I'm telling you, this is where you're looking. 1.86 to 1.9, that's a potential bounce area, and you can see how pretty this looks. Look at this, it's just a little range play. Nothing wrong with a little range play here, potentially for Fetch. That could give you some juicy little profits there on some of these moves. Ripple Muncher doesn't seem to be a fan of ADA. Ripple Muncher, make sure you guys are here watching this ADA situation tomorrow. We're going to chart ADA with the ladies, and we're going to see. Hopefully they'll give us some bull source. Okay, here's another AI token for you guys to consider. This is BTC.D, and it's been an absolute bleed out for the last, since the highs. When was that? 6th of March. And I just want to point something out to you. The last few times we saw this RSI on the daily at these type of levels, we had decent moves up. Okay, there was the first time was October 23, nice little move. The second time was early January. What did we get? Nice little move there. Third time, are we going to get a little double bottom here on the RSI, and are they going to send it a little bit higher? If that's going to play out, I would say you're looking at the 618. This is a massive 618 pool for Tower that I'm watching here. So look out, round about 310, 315, 310, even down to 300. That could be a region for you based on what this RSI is doing on the daily and based on what it's done in the past. The little bleed outs, you can see we've got these little double bottoms in play here on this daily RSI. Are we getting it again? Is there a potential move coming? So Taro, get this on your watch list. We know this thing's a pumper. Watch it, 300 to 315. Watch this region. And if things are turning bullish here, that's where you're nibbling. That's where you're looking for the big move. So eyes on that. Anything around about this 618 fib region. And it's a huge 618 fib region. So I would expect something to happen here. Chaos. Bro, floppy disk tech. What? You know, at least Phantom changed their engine. Phantom created Sonic or whatever it was. ADA, I don't know. What did ADA do? Maybe they're going to fill us in tomorrow. They're going to tell us tomorrow, hopefully. Old Joe says, ladies, give us some bull sorts. Okay, let's go. Dorothy wants some RUNE. I've got my RUNE chart for you. Okay, another one, TON Network. Again, this one has been an absolute banger. Trading TON and I keep saying redemption dog. It's resistance dog. Okay, so cumulative notional open interest for TON perps on exchanges hit a 1 month peak. Okay, nearing 200 million. The guys are interested. Okay, this is my tweet. Follow me on Twitter at the Lord of Entry. I'm dropping all types of alpha there for you guys. Follow me on Twitter. And here's TON, still looking hot and it's still the flavor of the month, and we're going to keep trading this thing until it's not the flavor of the month anymore. So for me, TON, there's no reason for me to look for exits here on TON until this thing absolutely starts losing interest all over the place. And what can you do now if you're looking for something on TON? Well, number one, you are sitting at a resistance band, so just be aware of where it is, okay? But the good news is you are nearly at all-time highs again for TON, and we can almost start playing the game of TON targets. Where can TON go? So let's take a look quickly. Where can TON go? I'm going to pull a fib from the high to the low, and I'm going to pull out the 1.618 fib, and I'm going to try and give myself a target for TON. Okay, and now this is just playing the fib game, and you'll be surprised if you back test this. You'll be amazed how often this has worked in the past. Okay, so here's a 1.618 fib pool on TON network, and this is telling me that TON can potentially go to about 9.6 after we break all-time highs. How does that look? Well, it could look anything like this. I mean, we could have a bit of a journey up there, but then I would expect a nice little healthy rejection after that region up there. So step one for TON, if you are holding TON spot or you are in a margin trade or something like that, no reason to exit. I'm holding TON margin and I'm holding TON spot here, and no reason to exit this thing at all. Big support you want to watch, 6.2. Okay, this is your big number you want to look for. Watch the 6.2. Let's see what happens when we drift into this region. Look for a bounce there. Look for a bullish bounce in that area. Obviously, if we're drifting into that region, it's telling us there's weakness on Bitcoin. Make sure Bitcoin is holding a nice solid area when TON is tying into this nice little region, and then you should get a nice little bounce. Watch the 50-day MA pushing up. The last time we hit the 50-day MA on TON was just the other day. Look how beautiful this move was. We hit the 50-day MA, tied in with a 618. Look at that perfection there, and here comes the 50-day MA pushing up for us, probably going to give us a little bit of added support here if we do get it move lower on TON. And what do we do now if this thing starts popping up? Well, what I would look out for, and this is why I've highlighted this this horizontal yellow dotted line for you at 7.7. If we do get this push now, let's say we get an aggressive move, we're looking for a rejection here. Okay, you can see why I want to see a rejection there. Then we want this retest. Then we've got a potential trade on the cards here. We've got a potential long brewing here for TON. That is what we want to see. Why do I want to see that? I want to see this previous resistance turn into support for us. So look out. When we get that little pop, 7.7, I'm going to be looking then to add to any positions down to about 7.2, even to push a little bit lower down to about 7. You could potentially be looking for a potential add there. So you've got two options now. If things turn bullish now, number one, you are at resistance. Okay, so if you are buying leverage now at resistance, you are taking quite a risk. Okay, if you are buying spot, well, you can build an entry if you are long-term bullish on TON. If you are buying here, I would suggest wait for it to pop higher, and then you want to buy with confidence on support. You want to buy on a nice healthy pullback onto support rather than buying into a resistance zone, and that is why this is so appealing to me. A little pullback here onto the 382 at around about 6.2. That is why that looks so nice and juicy there in that region. We've got a nice potential support bounce zone for us that we can play with. Okay, what else is going on? I see you guys are still talking about ADA in the chat. Save the ADA juice for tomorrow. Maybe they can convince us. You never know. Maybe they're going to convince us that ADA is going to be the best shitcoin in history. I don't know. And
that's like convincing a whale to drink water.
But maybe we're going to give them the full benefit of the doubt, and I'm hoping they bring us some alpha here on ADA, and maybe we get an entry, and maybe that thing pumps. Okay, another one on the list. So the DeFi investor had a nice list here. SNX was another one on his list. He says Infinex, a UX layer built by the Synthetics founder, launches on May the 13th. Could that potentially save Synthetics? Because it's been a hell of a boring little trade. Look at this thing, and it hasn't been very exciting over the last while if you really just zoom out at Synthetics. So anyone who's still looking at Synthetics as a potential trade, what you can do is you can watch this current area. You can see they're trying to find support in this region. Okay, you can see they're trying to hold it up here at the 786 fib region. So anything right now 2.5, I would say watch this area here. There is no rush, because if we start taking off, you've got a little trend line that you can play with. So there is no urgency here. You can let this thing do its stuff And once we start breaking a trend, let's see what happens here. If we break that trend, then we can start getting super excited on SNX. The only thing that's worrying me right now is if we get weakness in Bitcoin, I think you're going to get SNX entries at around about 2.2. So look out for a potential entry at around about 2.2. And it's a very simple play here. It's just a rising trend. It's a weekly rising trend. Look how strong these weekly rising trends are. And look at this nice tie in here for you at SNX. So it is on the DeFi investors watch list. Okay, so watch the current area where it is now. Could be something. Okay, could be something there on the weekly levels. We know weekly levels give us strength. Weekly levels often give us good reactions. So look out where it is right now, 2.5, and then lower down, look at this, 2.16. 2.15 anywhere in that region looks very nice and juicy there. And look at these nice weekly candles here. Look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can't even count that high. There's so many. Okay, so we got the weeklies and we got the rising trend. So for me, that's a potential sell the hamster zone there. If you want to look at that region there, something along those lines is where it's at. Okay, if we lose that level, first move about 20%, and next move then is about 40% in play there for SNX. Okay, next one is RWeave. Now, there's a lot of talk about RWeave. We know what's going on. Uncle's so bullish about it, and everyone's talking about it. And now is it time to start exploring the RWeave ecosystem? Okay, so if you got a shit hot project, like, for example, TON Network, the first thing I did was go and buy Resistance Dog. It's the first dog on the TON Network. And you can buy things in the ecosystem. Now, here are a couple of projects on the RWeave ecosystem that you can potentially look at. Okay, there's some wallets you can look at. There's a bridge. There's a DEX. There's a couple of DEXs. We know those DEXs do well. There's a meme at Trunk Token. We need to look at this thing. And maybe that is something to start looking at. And there's an Oracle or Bitco. So if you want to explore, take a look at Ash Boyash. And he's giving you a couple of ideas there if you want some other plays on RWeave. Okay, so let's say you feel RWeave is pumped too much. You want to now look at the ecosystem. Maybe there's some better returns on some of those projects. You can look around at some of those ecosystem plays. So take a look at that. And then for the hardcore RWeave traders, okay, we nearly cracked our all-time high. Look at this. We nearly smashed it. And then they sold us. They sold us down the river on Friday. They got us all excited, and then they came and they went for some rinsage. And now, what am I watching on RWeave? Well, we've got to watch the big zones. Okay, so what I can say to you here is watch the low from Friday's dump. Okay, that's obviously always a nice big marker for you. So watch 39.13. Okay, that's a nice big marker that you can play with. That's Friday's absolute low. So if we start losing Friday's dump, that's potentially telling us we are now going to be in some kind of downtrend on RWeave. Ellison. Sell the hamster. You guys know it's sell the hamster. It's Bitcoin at 12K is sell the wife. Bitcoin at what? 52K is sell the hamster, right? I think that's the right level.
I saw the wife at 52.
It's yeah. It's look at Link. I think Link we sell the wife at 8. I think that was the level we all agreed on. And we're selling the hamster a little bit higher up. Okay, RWeave, 8 hours. So watch Friday's low. Okay, number one, if you're sitting in an RWeave position and you're not sure what to do, if we start losing Friday's low, 39.13, then it's obviously telling us a story. Maybe things are now more bearish than Friday. We could be looking a little bit lower. And then you really want to start marking out, where are my huge levels? Where are my super strong, higher conviction zones? And here's one for you here at about 33 to 34. Why do I like this? It's the 618 pool, and it's the 50-day moving average tied in with some horizontals here for RWeave. So for me, this is a nice strong region here, 33 to 34, nice little area that you can watch for RWeave. If we are going to be in a confirmed downtrend, you're probably going to see something along these lines, and it could take a couple of days to play out, obviously. But that would be the ultimate move then for me on RWeave if we do get some kind of weakness now in the market. And then at any point in time, you can see we've got a potential downtrend in play here. But at any point in time, if this trend starts popping off and we start printing new highs, then you know you can start trying to trade these little breakouts. And then maybe that all-time high is going to start coming. And once we hit price discovery, we've seen it with Injective. We've seen it with so many tokens. When they hit that price discovery, we can't really pick the top other than pulling those 1618s, and they keep just going and going and going. I think Casper was a massive example of price discovery there. Okay, one more for you, RUNE. This is our RUNE trade. We've been talking about this one for ages now, and nice little pullback. But this is why I highlighted this key support for you guys last week. And Sniper Club guys, obviously you got this one, and I spoke about the support on the show, and I said any closes under this 382 and 200-day MA could tell us we're a little bit bearish. What did they do? They pumped it down. They stop hunted you a little bit, and then they sent it back up. So no candle closes under these areas, and so far so good. So big support now for RUNE traders. What you're watching now, you're watching 5.75. That's your big support area that you want to pay attention to now. If we get some weakness, that is your first area of interest. That is your potential buy zone, and that's an area where you can start paying attention to RUNE, and exactly the same as Arweave. We might have a very similar situation here for Arweave and RUNE. If we start printing a little downtrend there, we could be seeing something along these lines again. And you might need to have a little bit of patience then if there is going to be downside. So number one, 200-day MA, horizontals, 382 fib, that is cooking for you at 5.7. Watch that zone. That's a big support area. Lose that area. It could be telling us a story. It could be telling us, look, this downtrend is in play now. Foot off the gas. Let's wait. If we got a downtrend in RUNE like this, it's telling us we've got a downtrend in Bitcoin. We've got a downtrend in all the other altcoins. Well, not all of them, but most of them will be in a very similar downtrend. So then just slow down, lower the leverage, foot off the gas, smaller position, wait. You'll know when the time is right to pull the trigger. Me and Sheldon will be screaming from the rooftops. You'll see he'll be aping into his massive longs as usual. We'll be teeing up all sorts of longs all over the place. Okay, guys, I'm going to take two charts. Okay, Pyth and what do we got? Pyth and Injective. Okay, quickly, let's go Pyth and Injective for you guys. Okay, Pyth nearly in my buy zone. Okay, so remember, maybe don't remember, but there's a massive Pyth unlock. So if Chaos is still in the chat, let us know when the date is for the unlock, but it was a huge unlock. Okay, we're talking millions of Pyth getting unlocked. That is why there's been this huge sell-off on Pyth over the last while. So if moving into a first area of interest shortly, okay, so we have been drifting, and this is the level I've been talking about on Sniper Club, 0.42 to 0.43. That is an area of interest for Pyth traders. Look out there. You might get some kind of bounce in that region. Once we confirm the date, Ray, I don't suppose you have that date available with you on that Pyth, the Pyth unlock. But it was around the corner. It was like 25 million or something ridiculous on Pyth. But what do I have here? What information do I have? I can see Lux Algo is telling me Pyth is potentially getting a little bit tired of this current short. You can see they've printed an X here. Okay, so that's always a good sign. What does that tell us? Possible reversal around the corner. And what does around the corner mean on a chart like this? Well, you can see we've got a massively thick cloud here, so it could even dip a little bit lower into our next horizontal before they give us that move. But I would say if you're looking at Pyth, I would say you can nibble around about 42, 43. You can nibble in that zone, and then maybe a little push, a little bit lower. 38 is another potential zone for you. But Lux is telling us potential reversal coming around the corner for you guys. And then let's just cover Injective. And don't lose faith in Injective. I think it's a matter of patience here. I think just play the waiting game on Injective, and the right time will come. My level for Injective that I'm loving still is still this 18 region. Okay, so no changes here for me on Injective, and the plan is super simple. Okay, we've got a little trend in play, and we understand where our lows are that we're looking at. So something like this, obviously, first prize, bang, we get some kind of long out of that one, round about 18, 19. Alternatively, let's say this thing turns bullish, we break trend, then you know the drill. You're going to bang your stop under the nearest, say, 8-hour candle. You're going to put it under those lows, and then you're going to hope that this thing is going to start ripping. So look out for the trend break, or look out for that move lower. So 18 for me, 18, 19 for me on Injective. Alternatively, bang out a trend. Once we start breaking that trend, then we've got a potential play coming. Okay, guys, that was great. Sunday night, love these little updates for you on a Sunday night. You've got some great levels. You know what to expect now. Big week ahead. Good luck. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Banter Plus. Catch me on Banter Plus. We'll do an update on all of these. And if we are pumping, we'll make sure that you guys know exactly what the plan is then after that. So we'll see you guys later.